Welcome back. This is video 4.4 on the Blender 2.80 course. This one has to do with object modes and edit modes and the other modes that you can see if you click here in the mode drop-down list. You will see that there are 6 modes, but only 2 of them are critical. They are the object mode and the edit mode. Object mode is what you use when you want to move something in its entirety. For example, you click on the cube and you press G, you can move the entire cube like so. Or you select the camera and you press G, you can move the camera. Or you just want to move a couple of things at one time, you select them both and select G and you can move the 2 of them together. The other one that you will be using a lot is edit mode, because this deals with parts of the object that you are working with. Sculpt mode is for doing sculpting, which has to do with adding a lot of vertices onto the cube and then using the sculpt tools to move them in a way that resembles sculpting. I haven't mastered that skill, so I won't be able to tell you much about that. But if you want to, there are plenty of tutorials on the web on how to do sculpting. There's also vertex paint and weight paint. These have to do, and texture paint. All of these have to do with fine-tuning your textures on the mesh that you have. For example, if you were to create a person and you wanted to add clothes on that person, you would have to be doing some weight painting, so that when you move the person's arms, the clothes would move in a natural way. And that's why I haven't done that much so, but vertex, weight and texture paints are to do with textures. You'll also see that when you go between the edit mode and object mode using the tab key, this menu here changes. In the object mode, you can do this, you can view, you can select, you can add different types of meshes, and you can edit the object. You can set the origin where you want to have it, you can make a mirror of this object, you can duplicate them, you can shade it flat, or you can shade it, you don't see anything until you go into shading, of course. So you can shade it flat, or you can shade it smooth, like so. Turn on my screen keys once more. So, but when you go into your edit mode on the object, you will see that the list changes a lot, because this way you can not only view things, this is the same, select is the same, add is the same, but you must remember that if you add something while you are in edit mode, that new object becomes part of this object. That is sometimes useful, but 95% of the time you really don't want that to happen. So whenever you are adding something, make sure you are in object mode and not edit mode. We also have a mesh menu, which is different from the object menu. And we have the vertex menu, edge and face menu, because now we have vertices, like here, and we have edges, and we have faces. That's why we have those. And we also have unwrap, because all the unwrapping of the faces that you do when you are adding textures is done in edit mode. So this is why you must remember to stay in object mode when you are adding stuff, so that your stuff doesn't come part of the other one. And when you are in edit mode, you can take any single part of the mesh and do whatever you like with it. When you're doing stuff in Blender, oh, by the way, you cannot go into edit mode using, or you can't use edit mode on any of the standard parts like cameras and lights. They only work on meshes. When you have inserted something into the scene that you want to delete, you can select the thing and press X, and it will delete the selected object. Or if you are in edit mode, you can select, just turn off the normals for a sec. You can select the face, and now when you press X, you get a different list of stuff you can delete. You can delete you can delete vertices or edges or faces. Now, if you say only faces, it will give you an empty box. If you say edges, you only get a place. You only get a. The bottom will stay here, but all of the faces that these edges were connected to will go, except the other edges. So if you say only edges and faces, this is what happens. If you say vertices, you will lose the entire top part of the cube. So you have to get used to figuring out what happens in here. Dissolve vertices means that if you have an extra vertex somewhere, I'll just quickly add an extra vertex there, and I now select that vertex and I want to delete that. I can say X and dissolve vertex, and it will take out that one vertex but leave the mesh otherwise intact. Dissolve vertices like so. Go back to the previous situation. Also make this flat. So you have to be careful when you hit the X, because depends on what you have selected what happens. And edge loops can also be taken out. If I add an edge loop here, and now I say X and delete edge loops, it will take out the edge loop that I just created there. So that is rather important to remember as well. And the last bit for this presentation is normals. You may remember from your math class and geometry class that all faces have normals. They are imaginary lines that are projected away from the surface at a 90-degree angle. So if I select this face here and I go into my overlays, down here I can turn on my display normals on face normals, and I can define how long they are. Sometimes this is actually good, because if I select this face and I rotate it, I can now see which way all of the faces are pointing. Only the one at the bottom is pointing straight down. All the others have been twisted somehow. So if somewhere down the line in other tutorials you run across the word normals, it merely means the direction of the face. Also, normals are the lines along which extrusion happens. So if I select the top face here and I press extrude, you can see that it happens along the line that I just see on the top there. And if I now rotate the face again, like so, and extrude again, the extrusion happens along the normal. So that is what you get when you turn on your normals. You can turn them off. Also, vertex normals and edge normals are available, but you usually have to do anything with those. Yes, that was this video.